Thank you, Nelt. It's wonderful to be back and to be together again. As I said earlier, I feel closer now. It's an amazing experience. So welcome, everyone. Welcome to the study of life and the nature of the laws of thought. Welcome to this time. Welcome to this space. Welcome to this place. Welcome to the science of mind. It is a correlation of the laws of science, the opinions of philosophy, and the revelation of religion applied to human need and the aspirations of humankind. That's a definition written by Dr. Holmes many years ago of what he called the science of mind. It's the science of thinking. How do you use your mind to think? Last week, we talked about faith, what it is. Talked about what it is. If you want to know more about that, you can check in, as Gary said, go to YouTube and look for that one. It's the first of the month, the first Sunday of the month. This being the second Sunday of the month, we're going to do faith. Not how to use it, but what it does. What does faith do? So I'd like to bring you a couple of additional words from the reading. Dr. Holmes says in his writing, if one will have faith in himself, faith in his fellow man, in the universe, and in God, that faith will light the place in which he finds himself. And by the light of his faith, he will be able to see all that good. And the light shed by this faith will light the way of others. End of reading there. And that's on page 158. Isn't that wonderful that if we knew how to use faith, we would not only help ourselves, we'll help others. We'll help others to see the light. On page 230, Holmes again says, when faith touches a certain point in our consciousness and the light of spiritual understanding dawns upon us, we glorify the good. If we have been inwardly blind, our sight is restored. The clearness of vision should be reflected through our eyes. Faith touches a principle which responds. Do you hear that? Faith touches a principle which responds. We may be certain of this. All prayers will be answered when we pray aright. You ever wonder if your prayer is ever answered? Is it going to be answered? Well, by the power of faith, it is answers. The first necessity, Holmes says, is faith. So what it does, it answers prayer. It helps us to answer. It helps prayer to be answered. Dr. Holmes says that power, that law, is eagerly waiting our command. Eager. It's eager to do what we want. It responds. It moves on your behalf. It's not there to contradict you or to make things difficult. It moves on your behalf. In fact, Dr. Holmes says, not only is it eager, but it wants to do it now. It is and powerful, and it is an active power eager to answer your orders. Faith is not just some invisible idea that is bunched up somewhere in the never-ending nowhere. Faith moves. It takes action. That's what faith does. It takes action. Here again, when faith touches a certain point in our consciousness, what is the point in consciousness when faith touches where faith touches? the point of understanding. You know, Solomon in all his wisdom, I've said this many times, I can't say it enough. Solomon said, get wisdom in all you're getting. Get understanding. So in our understanding, our consciousness, if our consciousness understands this, faith will touch that spot and it will cause something to move. We don't have to worry about this. We don't have to torture ourselves about how it works. I'm telling you, this is what it does. This is what faith is waiting to do for you, to answer your prayer, to cause your prayer to be fulfilled. When faith touches a certain point in our consciousness and the light of spiritual understanding dawns upon us, we glorify the good. What part of your consciousness does it touch? I just share that with you. Understanding. That part of your consciousness that says, I want to believe my prayer. Have you ever had a desire like that? I want to believe my prayer. That's where faith touches. That's where that power reaches out. I want to believe my prayer. I want to speak my word with power. When you do that, faith acts. Faith takes action. The moment you believe what you are saying, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, when you believe something, faith acts upon that belief. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care who you are, what your last name is, where you were born, what color your skin is. It doesn't matter. It acts upon faith. It acts upon your belief. Here it is again. If one will have faith in himself, faith in his fellow man, faith in the universe, faith in God, that faith will light the place in which he finds himself. Wouldn't it be wonderful to walk into the darkest room, and as soon as you look, as soon as your faith kicks in, there's the light. And by that light of faith, you'll be able to see that all good is already present. And the light shed by this faith will light the way of others. In other words, you'll help others to have faith, to believe their faith, believe their prediction. Because you know what? A prayer is a prediction. If it is beseeching, it's not a prediction. A prayer that fulfills itself already right now is a prayer of announcement. You announce what it is you want into the power of faith. And faith does that. That's what faith does. It takes up your belief and commands and brings it to pass. What is not seen is seen right away. Faith touches a principle which responds, we may be certain of that. This is what Holmes says, we may be certain of it. When you have certainty of your belief, that is faith. So what is a principle? We say faith touches a principle. Here's the definition of principle by the science of mind. It is a study of the principle of being. It is the source or cause from which a thing results. It is a truth which is unchangeable. That's a principle. And it has nothing to do with religion. We use it in our belief, in our spiritual practice, because it is an infallible power. It is an immutable, infallible power. So faith touches that principle, that law that says, yes, you can trust it. You can have faith in it. You can be absolutely sure about it. I think we have something here that is really clear and powerful. Faith lights the way. You know, when we live in fear, we are living in darkness. Faith lights the way. That's what it does. Faith will light the place in which we find ourselves. And by the light of that faith, we will be able to see all good. And the light shed by this faith will help others to see the good, their good that's coming to them. Thomas Aquinas said this: the light of faith makes us see, let me say that again, the light of faith makes us see what we believe. Thomas Aquinas. So, it turns on the light where there is darkness. Do you have darkness? Do you have anything dark going on in your life? For instance, fear. You can turn the lights on. We don't have to live in fear and worry, which is the darkness, that cloud that darkens our path. We can have faith in a power that is greater than we are, and it is there for good, and we can use it. That power exists. It never went away. It is as eternal as God is, because it is not, God didn't make that. That is part of God's nature, the nature of God. Faith surrounds us with an atmosphere of reality. Faith surrounds you with an atmosphere of reality. Reality with a big R. That means it's the universal reality of goodness. Faith can move mountains. Faith moves mountains. You saw that in the scriptures. When Jesus says faith can move mountains, he was talking about the mountain of fear, the mountain of worry, the mountain of problems, the mountain of anxiety in life. A lot of us are going through that now, especially with COVID. We don't have to, we don't need to. We can stay at home and follow the rules, but we can do that in peace. We don't have to do that in fear. We don't have to do that in anxiety. We can follow the rules with faith and peace. Pure faith is spiritual conviction. If we believe that Spirit incarnated in us can demonstrate, shall we be disturbed at what appears to contradict this? We shall often need to know that the faith, the truth, which we announce is superior to the condition we are to change. That's a quote from page 159 in the Science of Mind. I'll say it again. If we believe, I'm reading this out of the Science of Mind, if we believe that the Spirit incarnated in us can demonstrate, shall we be disturbed at what appears to contradict this? He says, we shall often need to know that the truth which we announce is superior to the condition we are to change. You see why you should have faith with total confidence? Because what we are working with is superior to any condition we need to change. You can't create, you can't make up something so bad that faith cannot change. All we have to do is to let it touch the part of our consciousness that says, I believe unshakably that faith is there to act. This is about your personal, individual life. It's not about anyone else in the world. It's about you. Can you have faith in a power that is superior to the conditions that you want to change? I'm saying yes to you. I'm saying you can't do any better than that. Fear. We often allow fear to divide our mental house against itself, says Dr. Holmes. We should be careful not to divide our mental house against itself, he says on page 161. He says, having surrounded the law of liberty, we should not deny it. When we shall know the truth, then ways and means and methods will be found for the freedom of all. The mold of acceptance is the measure of our experience. The bigger the mold, the bigger your experience. I continue. He says, the infinite fill all molds and forever flows into new and greater ones. Within us is the unborn possibility of limitless experience. Ours is the privilege of giving birth to it. You create them all any size you want, and faith will fill it. The action of faith will fill it. It is time for us, it is time for you, for all of us, to give birth to the possibility of limitless experience of love. Don't you think so? I think so. To give experience of peace, of freedom, of prosperity, of goodness now. It's time. Let us focus on those, not on fear, not on the possibility of what is bad. Work on the possibility of what is good. That's the part of our consciousness it needs to hit. We shall often need to know, and I close with this quote, we shall often need to know that the truth which we announce is superior to the condition we are to change. That's what faith does. And so it is. I want to go back to the affirmation that Nild read for us. And I want you to listen to this and see if it sounds differently to you. Today, my heart and my mind are centered in a deep faith of love and omnipotent power of that one almighty omnipresence of God right here, right now. My faith grows stronger with each moment in that knowing. I am surrounded by the peace that is inherent within my faith. My life is fulfilling every moment as I grow in conscious awareness of divine love, divine guidance, divine wisdom, and divine intelligence as the heartbeat of my existence on planet Earth. I am thankful that my life is divinely peaceful and happy in all experiences, in all my experiences through this thing called life. And so it is. I wrote this affirmation before I saw the details of the month's theme of faith, understanding faith. I invite you to join me. Let's do this thing. Let's make this happen. Thank you all. Take time to muse. Take time to reflect. Take time to be silent. Take time to be in awe. Take time to contemplate. Take time to meditate. Take time to be alone. Take time to be quiet. Take time to hear the silence. And take time to know yourself. God bless you always. Stay in this mode and let us recognize that God is present right here, right now. That presence is a presence of unconditional love. It is the presence of infinite wisdom. It is the presence of total knowledge, omnipotent power. And that presence is in us. It is in you, it is in me. We are made in the image and likeness of that one presence. And as a microcosm, we have within us those qualities that we can now call forward to be active in our lives. Those qualities that we can begin to practice in our conscious minds so that our unconscious begins to absorb a new way of being normal. Our normal life will become one of a life of enhancement, a life of light, not darkness, a life of beauty, not ugliness, a life of harmony, not separation, a life of oneness, a life of unity. That's all available to us, and we can now open ourselves up to that. We do not have to effort it, we have to allow it. So we allow it. And I declare that we have not only the ability, but the inclination, the desire, the urge to allow these beautiful qualities to become normal in our lives. I'm so grateful to be able to declare this, to announce it as part of our true nature. And I release all of this to the action of the law that keeps reminding us, that keeps performing it in our lives. The law, the same faith that I surrender to, that it is done. And so it is. Amen. So I thank you all for your wonderful presence. And if we are complete, I am here to follow your guidance.